Welcome to the Pull Up a Chair show. I'm Dr. Christy Wick.
And I'm Dr. Jake Greenacher.
And we are here to let you in on our in-depth conversations on chiropractic practice, personal development, leadership, and business excellence.
If you are needing inspiration, motivation, clarity, or permission in any of these areas of your life, we're glad you're here. Pull up a chair.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pull Up a Chair. I'm Dr. Christy Wick.
And I'm Dr. Jake Greenacher. That was very corny, but it worked.
I was like, we didn't plan in advance, but I was like, we'll see what he does. This is great. So today we want to talk a little bit about, we've done a couple different episodes about just how things in practice evolve and how quickly they have evolved, I would say, in most recent years as compared to a decade. Like the last 3 years have changed even quicker than I would say the last 10 years, and things are just rapidly evolving. And so we've done a few episodes specifically on how marketing plays a role in that. But after doing some, market research, we actually interviewed a couple chiropractors recently that were specifically in a certain range of practice, and just generally what we see in all the Facebook groups and whatnot. I'm sure a lot of you would nod your head and agree that your number one challenge often in practice is marketing. Mm-hmm. It is just the thing that we're always trying to reinvent. We're trying to find that next best option. And so we wanted to talk a little bit today about a blind spot that is common with marketing and how you can ensure that you are using kind of a multifaceted approach to ensure that you're not winding up months or years down the line with this challenge because you put all your eggs in one marketing basket.
Yeah. What's great about this, and this is a true episode of Pull Up a Chair, because Christy was like, we're going to talk about this today, record. So you are truly just in it with us as we're diving into it. But what I love about this is that, like I said, we interviewed some chiropractors that were in a certain kind of range to see where they were at. This was kind of a number one concern. I was just in a mastermind group. I'm in a mastermind group where a call last week was surrounding this idea where it's leaders in the profession are talking about the same thing. So first of all, if you're in this camp, you are not alone. No matter where you're at in it, this marketing is rapidly evolving, keeping up on it. New patient acquisition is always something that is going to be at the forefront. So yes, Christy said it best, is that we have to look at this, as a big approach, right? I think, and again, nod your head in agreement, if you've over the last 3 to 4 years just kind of said, okay, I got to find the best agency to take over this, or I gotta really figure out Facebook ads or that kind of stuff. And you've just put all your eggs in that basket a little bit and just is this is going to be the next big thing. And I think we've all been there. But if you've been in practice long enough, you can really go back and evolve all these kind of things that have happened, right? Meaning that if you're old enough, you were in the yellow page era to where, you did have this yellow page ad. If you are under 45, 40 years old, you have no idea what the yellow pages are. So, keep moving on. But the idea of it is that this problem of being unilateral or one direction only isn't a new thing. It has been around forever. We just kind of get caught up right now in this idea that we all have to hack this code of the algorithm of Facebook and Instagram. And that is our marketing, and not looking at it as, yes, that is a tool in the big picture of the marketing, but we have to make sure there's other things we're doing too.
And I think one of the things that gets not just chiropractors, but any business person tripped up here is there's so much, business development, personal development talk about picking one thing and going all in and being relentless about one thing. And, that is obviously advice that is used kind of universally. It's not marketing advice. And so if you are really good at staying focused and putting a lot of your time and attention into one thing until you see the tides turn, that can honestly make marketing more challenging for you, because you're trying to flip your brain onto this whole other concept where if you don't have multiple streams of marketing, gain marketing traction, if you will, if you don't have multiple streams of marketing traction coming into your practice on a regular basis, then you are likely going to either see lots of peaks and valleys, which can be really frustrating from a cash flow perspective, or just a plateau. You're potentially relying on one thing that's giving you, mediocre results. And so you're really frustrated with those mediocre results. And I would say that is really common with a lot of chiropractors because many of us find ourselves trying different things and then it doesn't work and we're kind of quick to discard things. And so we just keep relying back on word of mouth and referrals, which obviously are always going to be like the lifeblood of your practice. They're always going to be flowing into your practice if you're doing a great job educating your people and you're doing a great job taking care of them inside the practice. But we're just in a time and an age right now that, if that is your tactic, if just hoping and praying for more referrals is your marketing tactic, you are going to be consistently frustrated if you're looking for growth in a reasonable time frame in your practice.
And if you look back on, and if even in practice for any amount of time, when you were first in practice, right, you had that bit of a fire and you were just finding ways to do things and you just kind of stumbled upon something that worked really well to grow your practice and to gain new patients. It was probably nothing you heard from a stage. It was probably nothing that was like, oh my gosh, it's this hack. It was ever something that you just kind of found to be your thing. My other thing is don't take away your own creative genius that got to the point where you're at, because if you really put that hat back on and you really get back into there's probably things that you can do pretty effectively, pretty cheaply, that can really revamp that kind of that genius to create the new patients. That's the one part. The other part, and Christy, I talk about this a lot, is that some people take that like one thing a little too far, meaning yes, you should have one message. Like if you want to dominate a category and you don't have the bandwidth, you don't have multiple docs, you don't have other things, I would say to kind of pick a segment. And I use this analogy sometimes. I don't know if anybody would want to do this, but you should be like the right frozen shoulder expert. Right. You know what I mean? We don't even see left frozen shoulders, just right ones. Like you should be specific in what you're doing and find that one thing. But that doesn't mean like one avenue to talk about it. It should be one message, but the one message should be talked about everywhere. It should be organically on your social media. It should be ads on your social media. It should be talks you're doing. It should be groups you're trying to get a part of. It should be, what you're talking about, the grocery store. It should be something you get involved with, local support groups, on and on and on and on. The idea is that you're not choosing like one tool to market that, you're choosing one message to market. So that's one kind of thing to look at as well in there. And then the last thing is that being creative. What other things can we do? What's kind of next level? What's out there next? Being in the forefront. And that goes back to that idea of what can I do to get back into my genius that maybe grew this practice to begin with? How can I open up my mind, expand some possibilities? Like, I wonder if this would work. Let's dive into this a little bit. And if even if the idea is maybe only a single, it doesn't turn into be a home run for you, the momentum, the energy that you're putting out there, that like, hey, we're trying to get new ones, that is good energy that you're infusing into your practice, and it will pay dividends.
Yeah, and part of the reason why we decided to talk about this today is I ended up writing kind of like a dissertation comment response in a Facebook group to a question. It's funny because all of you are in those, one or two at least of those big Facebook groups, right, of chiropractors. And so this one in particular, there's always a lot of people that are just really struggling, and they're, talking about leaving the profession or, having a side hustle, having, just they need ways to make more income. And someone posted,
thanks for tuning in to the Pull Up a Chair Show.
Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the show on your favorite platform, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.
If you found value in today's episode, please share it with a colleague. We would be honored.
To connect with us, you can find us on IG at The Pursuit Chiros, or you can email us at connect@thepursuitkairos.com.
I'm like, great.
Yeah.
But I ended up writing this long comment back to this person that was just looking for positive experiences. And I wasn't the only one. There's, I think, hundreds of comments now of chiropractors that have been in practice for 5, 10, 15, 20 years that have lived an extraordinary life because of their business, their practice, their commitment to chiropractic. But one of the parts of my response was, so many chiropractors get so tired and burnt out by patient care that they forget that they have to find the energy to also run a business.
Yeah.
And it's just, marketing is that. Like, it's what we're talking about. We understand it's not easy to have multiple plates spinning. And I'm going to give you a couple categories that I want you to think about. Like we firsthand totally get it because we both are still seeing patients. And, both of us have done various degrees of, whether we're in the practice almost full time, quote unquote, adjusting to, a few shifts a week. Like we've had the gamut of that over the last many years. So we get it. We understand that patient care is a full-time job, even if you are only adjusting 10 hours a week. There's so many other additional things that go into you truly caring for a patient at a high level. And we understand that requires time and energy and commitment. You have to be that superhuman, though, that figures out how to put at just as much, honestly, probably into how you are going to continue attracting more people to serve in practice. And this is where I feel like this is where my long dissertation comment came from, right? Most chiropractors just don't do that. Like they aren't realistic about what it takes to grow a practice. The first 6 to 7 years in practice, I did 2 to 4 marketing events, like not talking about, the multiple streams, just like in-person things, 2 to 4 a month for like 6 or 7 years straight. And so it's like you don't land in a 7-figure practice that's secure by happenstance. Like you land there by choosing that you're going to be great with patients and you're going to do the work that's required to figure out what marketing is going to generate results for your practice. And you're not going to give up when you get frustrated because that's marketing, right?
Mhm.
Always going to be things that work and things that don't work. But anything
Thanks for
on that
tuning in to
before
the
I
Pull Up
talk
a
about,
Chair
like, the
show.
different
Whether you're
avenues that
watching
they
on
should think
YouTube
about?
or listening to the show
No,
on
and I
your
just think
favorite
it's really
platform,
important.
make sure
and
you
again,
hit
I'll just
subscribe
pin
so
on
you
this
never miss an
idea that
episode.
there's
If you
really
found value in
is
today's
just
episode,
this-
please
there's
share it
really
with a
only
colleague.
two
We would be
pieces, and I
honored.
To
think
connect
the
with
hard
us, you can
part
find us on
is as you
IG
get longer
at
in
The
practice,
Pursuit Kairos,
those
or you
other
can
ones
email us at
become more and more
connect
natural,
at
right? It's you have
thepursuitkairos.com.
acquisition of clients. I mean, again, this is across the board for any business, right? You have acquisition, processing, retention, and then like team stuff, right? And the processing or your systems probably get easier the longer you're in practice. The retention piece you're probably getting better at, right? The team things, maybe you've figured it out. But so all these things come easy, and then when marketing throws you a curveball because it changes every 7 seconds, you don't necessarily have the energy for it anymore. Well, I wish I could give you this easy hack and this easy stuff, but like you just have to give it energy and attention or it won't be there. And that's all I got to say about that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. And again, I just hope you can hear, if you're listening to this, hear us saying like, we get it. We've been frustrated
Yeah,
with
we've
marketing.
been right alongside you.
The difference between finding success and longevity, I personally think, is just the length of time that you allow the frustration to dictate your actions. So if you're willing to allow the frustration to be quick and short-lived and you're feeling it and you're moving through it and then you're on to brainstorming, like that is what is honestly going to get you the results that you are hoping for. Just don't let it beat you down. But when we're talking about the multiple streams, I just want to throw out a couple things for you to think of as we're closing this out. Obviously, the thing that's top of mind right now that everyone talks about is social media, and that's great. But social media is not a marketing strategy standalone, right? It's just one piece of what all needs to happen in order to get traction in practice. So making sure that you're thinking about social media, building your email list and doing email marketing, making sure that you have a website that actually works and converts and it's very specific to you and your message. That's a huge one that we see chiropractors making mistakes on, just like buying a website that doesn't have anything specific to them. Making sure that you're doing in-person marketing things, both external and internal. You still do need to show up in your community. Like I understand that social media has made it easier for you to be seen remotely, if you will. But when I was talking before about like 6 to 7 years of showing up in my community, I mean, social media was around. I'm not that old that it wasn't that it wasn't around when I started
Yeah.
practicing. But really showing up and doing what's required to become a fixture in your community is still going to be something that we will always tell you to invest your time and energy in. So those are just like a few quick things to think of off the top of my head. And that doesn't mean that you need to pour all of your marketing energy into every single piece, right? but you do need to make sure that you are doing multiple things well, so that if you have a month where something that used to perform well all of a sudden isn't performing well, you have other streams that are coming into the practice that are also going to generate. And that's not an easy thing to do. We're not saying it's easy. We're just saying it's an important awareness factor so that as you're moving forward, the frustration can be less.
Couldn't agree more. So this is a conversation that we will continue to have. This isn't like this was the last conversation you'll ever hear about marketing. Like, no, we're going to be pulling up a chair a lot on marketing because it's constantly changing. And I love what Christy said. Like, take 30 seconds to be frustrated. Like, when we talk about marketing, the first 30 seconds, we're just complaining about how the fact that it doesn't work the same way it worked anymore. And then just shut that. And then, okay, now what are we going to do about it? Right. So we are constantly going to be talking to you about things you can do about it. We will be here. We will be sharing lessons and learnings as we go along the way, but just make sure that you're actively putting energy and attention into all parts of your business. And this is a big one.
And along those lines, this episode will come out in March of 2025. We are actively working on, so when Jake said before, don't forget you have that creative genius in you and you need to go back to ideas that have worked for you and tweak and, make sure that you're updating them. He has done exactly that. He has gone back to an idea that he had a long time ago.
It was like 10 years ago, I think.
And he has applied it to a different demographic and he's getting amazing results with it. And lucky for you, he is going to be sharing that with all of you, an opportunity to learn exactly what he's doing, how effective it's been, how you could do that in your own community. And we'll be releasing that very, very soon in spring of 2025. So if you are interested in getting your hands on a new marketing idea that is being tested and proven in communities, then make sure that you shoot us an email, not an email, but send us a DM and give us your email so that we can get you on the email list so that you can be the first to know about it, because there will be a little bit of first to market options here. Like, you want to be the first to do this in your community. And so we'd love to have you have an opportunity to know about it before anyone else in your local area. So send us a DM, at The Pursuit Chiros on Instagram, and we'll get your email on the email list so that you can be the first to know.
Yeah. And I always hate when I'm on your shoes and like the cat's halfway out of the bag, but we can't let it all out of the bag yet. Just know that Christy and I are more excited about this than any like one kind of strategy that we've had in a long time. And I'm excited to just lay it all out there for all of you, and I hope you all start doing it. So that will be out very soon.
Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Pull Up a Chair Show.
Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the show on your favorite platform, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode.
If you found value in today's episode, please share it with a colleague. We would be honored.
To connect with us, you can find us on IG at The Pursuit Chiros, or you can email us at connect@thepursuitchiros.com.